Yeah. So in our last session, we discussed about um, Git in depth into we look into Git. We're talking about the Git command, the common Git command that we Git init to initialize a project, Git add to add just to stage our changes or to track the changes and all. And we tried some couple of we demonstrated how team interact or build products. So using feature branches, then using a pull request, creating a pull request, then which will allow the for peer review uh, between the team. And once it's fine, that it's going to be merged in, then there are other processes that will happen. But this is just part of development. The other side of the integration, I'm sure you've heard about CI/CD as well. So continuous development, continuous delivery, integration and delivery. So just to give you a bit about that. So this week, let me share my screen. To start off with understanding how the web works, basically how the web works. It seems this topic seems like what we mostly might be familiar with already, maybe. So I think we might not really spend much time on this one. So basically, how the web works, basically, there is in the high level, I'm sure we're familiar with typical web browser. If you go to a web browser and you will typically see a URL. Let me see. Let me try some tutorials to see it there. About the join shop. So you see a URL www.coldedwin.com or dot whatever slash that you see another part, a part that so you maybe I think it's fine to just show you this, just explain this on high level. Um, 1 second. Yeah, we could just use Zoom for example. So looking at this Zoom URL, the URL is divided into three parts. So we have the HTTP, either HTTP or HTTPS, and we have this which is called. Who know what this is called? Just to know how much you know about how web work. What is this called? This highlighted one here. It's called what?
With the domain.
Yeah, correct. So that's the domain name. And we have this part, which is this telling us where what we are trying to access basically within the domain or within the server. And this is like a maybe a token or to authorize the request kind of maybe most likely going to be a temporary access token or something. So so how this work, computer does not understand a plain English language just like this. So the way it works, I'm just going to give an overview of what we're trying to talk about. The way it works, it actually, when you hit this URL, hit enter on it, this URL will be converted to what the computer understands, like an IP. So the computer already understands numbers. So IP, I don't know, you should be familiar what an IP is. So it's just an identifier that identify each web page online. So if you enter google.com today, it's resolved into an IP. So it resolve it into an IP. So so this IP is now what it's sent to the server. So how does it send it? If you are talking about you most likely need an internet. If you're talking about accessing something over the internet. Yeah, you need an internet, and there's also something called the TCP as well, where that transfer it to the right place within the server. So the this after this is converted to server, there's something called a data domain name lookup. You try to look for this domain name in the server and say, okay, and that is when it resolve So your browser asks a domain name server to translate it. So it translates that name into a readable version, which is the IP. And the request, what then goes after them will be the actual request. So your browser send the either an HTTP or HTTPS request depends on how secure the website is. If it's secured, it goes through an HTTPS um, with the requested IP, then asking for the actual resource, either a web page, HTML, the CSS, or a resource in general, maybe API. The server, it sends the request to the server, and the server actually just get back to you. Okay, if the resource is available within the server, and it's return back the response to the browser, basically. So that's when we have something like rendering. The browser now render the page, make it more beautiful for you to see. So, and that's just on a high level, what is happening behind the scene. Behind the scene, when you hit a URL, basically. So there are, based on my slide, there are packet switch digital network. These are like versus circuit switch. So these are like landline or digital, just like what I explained. So network protocol, there are different network protocol. If you want to talk about IP, HyperNet, we have TCP. So this is what I mentioned. It's used for transferring, ensuring your requests get to the right place. And you have UDP, you have the domain name, which is the DNS. There's a DNS service or system. The internet is actually just like when you're within the local network, we have difference between internet and ethernet. So within the local network, you could have, maybe you have a server, maybe most likely it happens most of in the bank. They have local servers within the environment that can just be accessed within the system in the environment. And internet is when we are able to access it over the public. We have the cellular network. So I think this is just what I a bit describe. When there's an hypertext, and the www is the full meaning of world as acronym for World Wide Web, and the URL is also called Universal Resource Locator. Just like passing a file, can be a file, can be HTTP and HTTPS. For HTTP, we have it as hypertext transfer protocol that's actually built on the TCP or IP, basically. HTTPS is more secured with SSL. So this ensures that whatever you are trying to access in transit, I mean, if I want to submit my bank details, I need to check that the website I'm using is secured. So, of course, data in transit, it's called data in transit, need to be protected. So that's why it uses SSL. And it uses the public key encryption or symmetric cipher. Symmetric cipher is like when you have a public or public symmetric cipher. I think asymmetric is when you have a private key and public key. So the other end is being decrypted with the encrypted with the public key. The receiver will decrypt it with its own private key. So the search engine, which uses some web crawler, there are some sophisticated algorithms to find related content. So we can see how Google works basically. In the recent time, we see that Google has also implemented added some LLMs, summarization as well. Like when you type something, you can easily see the summary of what you're trying to look for, on Google today. So basically, the web, I think, is kind of divided into two. Basically, you have a client and you have the server. The client is like maybe the device you're trying to use to access the resource. Can be a phone, it can be a laptop, or whatever third party device you're using. So they are distributed systems separated it expected large compute storage from display and interaction. So we used to have, I remember we used to have a mainframe server. Most of the bank have some very big data center, not really big, but they have a server within the banks. Some other environment like AWS have a very large data centers across different availability zone. So these server are like the backend, like AKA backend, because that's where we're trying to retrieve these resources from. So the client requests for the resource and the server responds back. That's just on the high level. I send the request, you give me back the response I don't really need to care about how you're trying to retrieve it, how you're trying to get those data back to me. But just as a developer, it's good enough to understand what happened behind the scene. So the client has said the browser, your phone, your desktop app, or JavaScript sometimes can be a client. In the recent time, we have JavaScript as a server, like the Node, Node is now like the JavaScript backend or server. So we have the web servers which uses HTTPS protocols, and yeah, that's it. Yeah, this is what I was trying to explain earlier. Like we have the URL. This is HTTP. So HTTPS is called what? Based on our explanation so far. HTTPS, if you divide this into three, HTTPS is called. Can someone help me? Anyone?
I'm sorry, you're cutting out. What was the question?
Yeah, HTTPS is called. What is it called?
What's it like stand for?
Yeah. What is it? What does it stand for? Yeah. Not the full meaning.
Um,
Like, or if you divide this URL into three, we have the first part with HTTPS, we have the second part with the learn.codedream.org, and we have the third part as how the web work up. So the first part will be labeled as well.
hmm, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Anyone else can help? No one else want to talk? Yeah, so the first part is the protocol, like I said. That's the protocol.
The
Yeah,
protocol?
yeah, the protocol.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry,
and
I
the
don't know if it's
second
my computer, but I can't hear anything today.
okay. Yeah, and the second part is well, like you said, you mentioned before, that's the domain name. Yeah, and the last part is the part to which you're trying to access the resource. So the path to the resource itself. Yeah. So this is a data example of a data center, and these just an example. Yeah. Like I said, we will not spend a lot of time on this one because I'm sure you're already familiar with some of this one. Do you have any questions so far? No question, Michael? No, thank you. Okay, so there is I think that's just the high level of how the web work here, but we can always check it out with other resources as well. The other part we need to delve into is like an introduction to HTML. So HTML basis. So this one, like we've mentioned before, HTML stands for hypertext markup language. So we have some. So just see HTML as the bricks or building blocks of a web page, and we have something called CSS. CSS is like, okay, after you build your house with the bricks, you now want to paint it, so just give it some painting, colorful paint as you wish. And the next one will be JavaScript. So JavaScript help. like an interaction between the user and the client and the app itself. If you want some interaction, something interactive on your application, then you use JavaScript. So that's just to give you on high level what the that's the part of the web anyway. When you see a beautiful page on the website, so you know that it's either it contains an HTML page, a JavaScript page, a JavaScript and CSS. So the CSS is just so if there's no CSS, then the page will be just it will not be beautiful, at least, yeah. So this has HTML surrounds everything except the data doc. So we have the head. The head is like whatever, maybe it's just to store metadata, basically. We have a head, whatever you don't want you don't want to show to the user. Anything you don't want to show to like the link reference to the maybe HTML, some links that you can exempt from exempt the user, you don't want the user to see basically. So it contains metadata and part to external content like CSS. So except JavaScript, which is loaded at the end of the body. So page display faster if it does not wait for JavaScript to load here. So in general, things which take a long time to load should be loaded at the end of the body. So you can take this some of the tip to help you in case if we are called, oh, a software engineer, can you help us optimize this page? The first thing to check is how the sequence at which or the resources are loaded. So we always ensure that JavaScript are loaded at the end of the page. So it's already display the HTML and CSS, and we load the JavaScript afterward. So we have the body. The body actually contains what you want to be displayed, the displayable content to the page. So we have the boilerplate. A boilerplate is just a complete starting point of HTML file, like just a to help you get started with HTML. So there is a mostly automated in VS Code uh, uh, by typing the exclamation mark at the top of the empty HTML file. Yeah, so this is just so now some of the semantics of the HTML. So the semantic describes the structure of the document. So we have something, there are major, the building blocks are called tag. They are basically called tag or element. So the tag and element define the semantics, not display. Most elements have open or closing tag. Some of them are self-closing. Some has a open and closing, like this one is an open and closing tag. Can you can you hear me okay? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So a paragraph, this is for P for paragraph. When you want to define a paragraph, some are self-closing, like I said, like an image is self-closing. The breakpoint is just to break the line, and metadata are self-closing. So we also have something called attribute. You can add attribute to your tags. Like this is a tag, an anchor tag, and we have the href, which is an attribute. The href defines the URL to reach once you click a link, where should it go to? So you define the link within the href itself. Here, within the href itself, and the div is like a container, basically. When you look for a container, the div is just like a block, a container. You can use it to wrap whatever content. So this P is for paragraph. When you want to add a paragraph within the content, so this class, this is an ID and this is a class. So class, we're still going to talk about it, but for now, class is just like an attribute for this tag P. So so some other semantic markup. So we have the header from H1 to H6. We have the paragraph, the anchor tag, we talked about it. The generic D container, like I said, div is a container. and we have the list. On other lists, um, we have list item for both. This is a list and the content of the list basically. So we also have session. Session is just to group your imagine you have want to because it should you call it separation of concern. You want to have okay, this session is just for the nav, this session is for the center of the page, and this session is for the footer. So just for you to easily manage your web page basically. And this if you want to add an image, you use the img, and this will be the source, which is now the attribute for this IMD. So we are basically telling the web page, okay, for you to display this image, get the image from this source, maybe a URL or from the local file or from wherever. So there are other information that we need to talk about maybe in the future. Forms label and text area. I was talking about separation of concern earlier. That is one of the principles or design principles. So separate code in components with distinct functionality as little overlap as possible. General organizational principle for software. HTML started with controls, attribute for the representation of content, and primitive interaction capability. CSS was added to the standard later called cascading style sheet, much more powerful and flexible. So JavaScript added the standard later to the standard later for control of behavior, for interaction, dynamic, or whatever you want to do. And for web development, separation of concern means use HTML for content, CSS for presentation, or styling, JavaScript for behavior. Maybe you want to do some interaction, have some interactions and all. So the latest standard, which is HTML5, deprecates many styling attributes in HTML. So you use class equals to an ID equals to content to connect with CSS and JavaScript instead, yeah. So if you have any question before we start the quick demo, any questions so far?
There's a question in the chat for you
Okay,
that someone left.
I haven't checked. Let me check. Sorry. Good. Oh, did you say it's lagging a bit? Can you hear me clearly?
It's in and
It
out, but
goes,
I can hear you now. Yeah.
Ah,
yeah, I
okay.
agree with Megan. It's in and
Yeah.
Yeah, I
out,
think.
but
Maybe my connector. This. Yeah, okay. Maybe lagging a bit. So okay. Allow me saying that their access to right title, right after header. Is that the normal classes before your name? As far as I know. Okay, so I think the order does not really matter anyway. So if you want to add the title, it does not really matter where to add the title. You can add it before or after, so it doesn't matter. Yeah. So should it the major thing is to see the result as ensure you have the title in your web page. So yeah, it does not really matter if you had it before and after. Yes, so I created this page. Yeah, okay, yeah. So like we described in doc, we said if you want the boilerplate, you can use the exclamation mark and enter. So you see that it generated the boilerplate for us. So if you decide to have if you decide to put the title here or did you say let me what's the question again? Right after header, yeah. Okay, right after the header. Yeah. The normal practice is to have it within the header. But if you have it right after the header, what will happen with it with that? So if you run this, am I able to run this? Where is this guy? Phone finder. Yeah. So basically, we still see this is the raw page of of the file. Well, we've not added anything yet. This is just like a boilerplate. The only thing we can see is so if you look at this is what we call title. This either you have it inside or outside. Let me see. Where do we have it? So we added it outside after the header, and we can see that when it is generated, looks like it added it into if we are trying to inspect. So we just inspected the page, and we can see the title is added inside of the head tag eventually. So I don't think it matters. It's able to determine where the title is. I hope that helps. Yeah. So with this, I think we can just to practice what we've learned. So I think where you can try to create a simple student profile with mm, are you able to join are you able to join via like live share? Let me see if I can create a session. Yeah, I just created one. Make it to do you have a VS Code open kind of? If you have it open, then I have a live share if you want to work with me with this on this one. Yeah, I'll be expecting people to join before we start. So if you click on the link I shared, can we access it? Yeah, please. I've not seen anyone joining yet, so I'm waiting. Okay, one person is in. Yeah, okay. No problem, Michael. Okay, so that's fine. So you want to try and kind of create the um, what is it called? A student profile page. So the first thing I will do is to maybe update the student. I don't want auto completion. So the student profile. So this will, if you check our app, it should change the title to student profile. You can see the title has been changed to student profile. So that's what title is basically. So the next thing we would want to do is to have uh maybe what should we have is to have an header within the body now. We want to try. Can you add an header? Like H1 header, say student profile. Yeah, want to try it. Are you able to type? Oh yeah, yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Did you miss something? Did I try it? Yeah. Okay. Thank you for fixing that. Yeah, that teamwork. So if you go back to our app, you should see a very big one, view a student header. So thank you. So the next thing we want to try is to maybe what can we try? So within the student header, we can have the student name maybe on just beneath it. Maybe a an header that is a bit maybe H2, won't add an H2 for us. Maybe you can just try a random name. I can try to do that. This one, H2, or yeah, I want to write John Doe, yeah. Yeah, John Doe, yeah. So if we go back, we see that, oh, he has added the John Doe for us. So that's the student name. So let's try something else. Maybe the student profile. And we added student profile. Do we need to add an image? Can someone try to add an image for us? So which tag do you need to write to add an image? Yeah, yeah. Do you want to try it? Who is on?
It's me. I
Okay.
can try.
Yeah.
Do we need to like create a folder
No,
and put the
okay.
images in?
You can either get an image online. Let's try online
Oh,
for
or
now.
you
Yeah.
could do an image
Yeah.
online. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I literally just read how to do that before
Okay.
logging into this, so
Yeah,
be
yeah. In the
patient.
body, yeah. Nice.
Okay. Um, and then do I need to put like the a href?
Yeah, we need this not the href is for links anchor tag anchor. So when you want
Okay.
to click on something, but what we need is
Oh,
we need to define the source of the image. So
okay.
we need to add an attribute called
Okay.
src. Yeah,
SRC. Okay.
yeah.
Does that need to be in the
It- it's an attribute. Yeah, exactly.
brackets
It
or
should be
no?
within the image itself. Okay, let me help you. Yeah. Thank you for trying. So do you need to
Okay, image
add the S?
SRC.
Yeah, just SRC.
Okay,
So
okay,
now,
okay, okay.
I don't have any image in mind. Maybe we can find one.
Yeah.
Which image can we use to use profile? Use which one? Which one? This is let me see. Hopefully we get a free one and not paid one. What is this? Let me see. Copy link address. Yeah, that's a long one. Let's try it. What happened? It's broken. Is that not a valid email? Seems to be a valid one. Okay. Or maybe can I download it?
And so, Hassan, because you're hosting this live coding session, if
Yeah.
they wrote something in the code to source an image locally, they would need to know where it was on your machine, right? Because you're the one that's running the
Yeah, yeah,
HTML
yeah.
file.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Got it.
yeah.
Thank you.
I just wanted to use an online image. Yeah. I could just download one image and let me see if I can just download and use a local one. If we are not able to do I download? Copy image, yeah. I can use this. Let me use copy. Can I copy? No. No what? Let me try something. I'll just screenshot it. So I have a screenshot. Then I can go desktop, the last file, copy. Then this one. I could just let me add the image and paste. Yes. So we could rename this one to be name profile. Profile. Then we should be fine now. So over to you. We have the image in the local now. So let's have a reference to the image. So what do we need to access this image?
You just need to type like image and then slash, then the name
Yeah.
of the image.
Oh yeah, try. Give it a try.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that seems right.
Okay.
So let's see. Refresh. Yeah, but it's a very big one. It's a very big one for our profile. What do we need to do to make it smaller? Do we need to, anyone want to
Like,
suggest?
yeah, add the size that you want it to be.
Well, how do we have the size? Come on,
That.
I don't want to do this. Don't like put off this. So we can have the width. We need to have the
Okay,
width.
yeah.
So let's say what width is appropriate. Let's see. 150 pizza or what size of this guy? Let's try. Let me just give it 50. And the eye, let's say 30 pizza. So if you refresh now, you see that is so small, very small. So what I usually do typically is just to um this is the image. You can easily quickly make an adjustment within the just from the browser itself before you make the change. You can just say, okay, let's make it 150. Come on, where's the change here? I think I will out here. I'm not able to make the change. Very compounded. Not this one. This is the style with. Okay, okay, looks like I cannot make. I don't know for some reason. I'm just going to make the change here and try again. This is 100. Let's make it 100. Yeah. We can just make it more bigger if you want. Say 250. And this is 200. Yeah, I think this is a bit okay. Yeah, we have John Doe now, Jane Doe. Now, the next thing we want to have some information about Jane Doe. So we could just add something like an about me or just below the image. Um, just below the email, let's add an about me. Let's say H, we want to add an H, maybe H3, just something not too big. Say about, come on, about me. Did I, did I disable auto completion on this page? Okay, I think it's already giving some suggestions or trying to prevent it now too. So we need to add just to move faster. So I will just go with the suggestion. So it says, hello, my name is Jane. Come on. I don't want this suggestions here. I'll just end close. This is the opening tag and this is the closing tag. So you can see, okay. You can see that for this one, for the image, it doesn't have a closing tag. It's called a self-closing tag. And these ones are as opening and closing tag, which make it uh it has both opening tag and a closing tag. So now we added a paragraph that says, hello, my name is Jendo. I'm a computer science student. the passion of blah 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 and software engineering. So I'll save this file. I will refresh again. So we can see that this is now added to the page. So we have the student profile, the profile image, and a bit of, did I? Okay, one, okay. Yeah, so a bit of details about Jane. So now I think what other thing we can add is so should we have something like a contact details? Yeah, so if you want to have the contact, I want someone else to try this one. So we have a contact there with an H3 as well. You want to try? And we had it. Yeah, someone is trying already. Yeah, thank you. Just below the paragraph, yeah. H3, I've got the contact details. Yeah, so now we need to have something called um unordered list so that it relates the email. We have the email, maybe should we call it address, then email, address, and maybe phone number. Yeah. So we need and something like yeah, exactly. Ordered list, yeah. So, yeah. Then within the order list, we need to have the list of item now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the
Yeah.
LI
LI. So that will be be wrapped
that's
within the, yeah,
within it.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. And then I do it like this.
Yeah, yeah, correct. So we have
Okay. Oops.
email.
Yeah. And I'll do
Yeah,
email address.
yeah,
And then like next line, do LI
yeah,
again.
yeah.
Okay.
Location. So we could have it as email address colon, just make it simple. Email address and colon, then you type in an email, a valid, whatever email,
Oh, okay.
example email or whatever. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, cool. Yeah. We have location somewhere. Yeah, cool. And we have the full number, so some random number. Yeah, cool. Yeah. So save that. So let's see what that looks like in the web. Refresh. Nice. So we have the student profile with with brief details, and so if you want to contact the student, please reach out to the student on this email. So there's one more thing I wanted us to try. You see that this email address is it's just a plain text. So there's cases where you can click on the email and it will kind of open an is it a mail application basically. So there's something called we've talked about the anchor tag already. So we can wrap this email address within an anchor tag. So I will try this one. So we have anchor tag. Come on, don't do this to me. He knows what I wanted to do, but just want to type it myself. So we pass in the href, and use the mail tool because we are trying to send a mail. There's a keyword mail tool with a colon. Then we now pass in a copy of this one within the mail tool, and I think that should just help us with that. So did we do it right? It looks like we wrapped everything within the. We only need to wrap this within the motor. So let's confirm what we did there. Anchor. Oh, we didn't close the anchor tag. We're supposed to close the anchor tag. Yeah. So if you refresh, yeah, you see that we have whatever email. If I try to click on this, what will it do? So it's actually supposed to, yeah, okay, it shows us, maybe it shows us where we are trying to send the email to just below. But now open the hub. I think there's something else we need to do, but we'll not go into that for now. Anyway, this is just to ensure that the email is highlighted and like an invalid email. So the next thing we need to add just before we wrap up is maybe the course. Maybe let me say just be fast with this one. Set an H3 course. I will not use skills. I will use courses. Maybe come on courses. Then we need to add another on other list. So I will use URL. Then we have a list. So the first one, introduction, let me just use the yeah. So introduction programming, web development fundamental, data structure. These are the courses I'm going through. So as a student or a computer science student. So this should also give us another header courses and the one other list here. So we can also have the maybe some like it's still going to wrap around this one, some like a favorite, or maybe let's say we have another H3. So maybe favorite learning key resources, or let's say favorite learning resources. Then we can have maybe a paragraph this time and say I enjoy learning from maybe Code the Dream or something. Or let's use the general from let's say from the official site MDN, that's in Mozilla on Mozilla Docs. So if you try to load this one, you should see something like this, and you're learning from this. So now we need to make this an anchor tag. Who want to try this? Let's make the anchor tag and reference the and web doc here. And reference this doc basically in your anchor tag. Do you want to try? So I'll just put this in here for now. So you need to wrap this within the anchor tag, and once you click on it, you should go to this URL as a new tab here. Do you want to try?
I can try.
Oh, thanks.
We do the A, correct? A.
Yeah. Come
Okay.
on, where did
I know it's
I?
so annoying. Okay.
Yeah, that
Oh
boy, yeah.
gosh.
Cool.
Okay. And then
Think you forgot.
do I do the href here?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And
So
then
the href will be pointing to the URL.
oh,
Yeah,
so I'm not
href
supposed to close this out?
yeah, href equals the URL, and
Okay.
you're supposed to wrap this basically.
Okay.
How do I disable this auto completion again? Sorry. So this is it. You need to wrap this. This needs to be within this.
Okay, so I start there.
Yeah. And the link is supposed to be inside the href. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. It should be outside of the anchor, basically. It should just be somewhere here.
It's right after. Okay.
No, I think we are right. Inside should be within here. Inside the anchor tag, come on. Excuse. There's a missing code here. On this out. So we have the href. I enjoyed learning from the href, the URL, and we have so it's showing red. Why is it showing red? Because why is it showing red? Who can help us? Let me bring down.
Because we didn't close out the first one.
This is the first one. Anchor tag.
Yeah, and we didn't.
href is closed.
Oh, now it's closed.
Yeah, I don't have this one yet.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So this is what happened. What will happen with this one? I'm just going to close this one now. So we have the link. Once we click on the link, it just load on the same page. But in an ideal sense, for someone that has an application or a web page, you wouldn't want users to go away from your page. You don't want you want users to stick to your page, to always stick to your page. So it makes sense to redirect the user out from here and open a new tab instead. So if you want to do that, that's when you need to add the target. The target you need to add and say underscore blank. Underscore blank will ensure that when you click on this link, it opens on a fresh blank page. So that's what that is doing there. So if I refresh this again and click, you see it went to a new page and we still retain our page. So that is what the some of the attributes. So we need to, the more we do, the more we get familiar with the attribute of each tags. So yeah, I think we just because of time, we can wrap up with this. From the next session, I think we're going to talk about CSS. Then we can try to style it a bit and let it look a bit more beautiful, well, with our CSS coming next week. Yeah, I think that's it for today's session. If you have a question, please let me know.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So see you next week if there's no question. Thank you. Where's this? Stop sharing.